My beloved child, the question about your future child was asked to your soulmate in a moment when nobody expected such a powerful emotional reaction, but the answer that came from their heart revealed a hidden truth that had been waiting to be discovered. A simple question opened a door to a secret dream they never shared. A future they imagined suddenly felt connected to one person they could never forget. The emotion in their eyes revealed a story that words were never able to explain. Listen carefully. Because sometimes the deepest feelings are not revealed during the biggest moments, but during a simple conversation that touches the heart. When someone asked your soulmate about their future child, everyone thought they would give an ordinary answer about dreams, family, and the life they wanted someday. Nobody expected the silence that came before their response. Nobody expected the way their expression changed when they started thinking about the future. It was not just a question about having a child, it was a question that reminded them about love, commitment, and the person they secretly imagined standing beside them when their biggest dreams finally came true. Your soulmate tried to stay calm in front of everyone. They tried to smile and answer like it was just another conversation, but something inside them was different. Their heart was remembering moments that nobody else knew about. They remembered the times they thought about what a peaceful future would look like. They remembered the kind of family they wanted to build. They remembered the person who made them believe that maybe a beautiful future was still possible. And that person was connected to you. There were things your soulmate never said because some emotions are difficult to explain. They may have hidden their feelings behind silence, jokes, or a normal attitude, but deep inside, they carried memories that had a special place in their heart. They remembered the way you made them feel understood. They remembered how your presence brought comfort when life felt confusing. They remembered moments that seemed small at the time but became unforgettable later. The question about a future child brought all of those memories back at once. Because for your soulmate, a child was not only a dream about the future. It represented a home, a bond, and a love strong enough to create something meaningful. It represented waking up beside someone who truly understands them. It represented a family where love was not just spoken but shown every day. The people around them noticed the change. They noticed that the answer was coming from a deeper place. They noticed that your soulmate was not simply talking about a future child, they were talking about the kind of life they always wanted. A life filled with trust, loyalty, laughter, and emotional security. But there was something hidden behind that reaction. Your soulmate had a fear they rarely showed. They feared building a dream and then losing it. They feared giving their heart completely and finding out that the other person did not feel the same way. They had seen relationships change, promises break, and people walk away when things became difficult. That is why they protected their emotions so carefully. But when they thought about the future, they could not ignore one feeling. They could not ignore the image of someone who made them feel like they did not have to pretend anymore. They thought about you. They remembered the conversations that stayed in their mind long after they ended. They remembered the moments when they felt safe enough to be themselves. They remembered the connection that felt different from ordinary relationships. Maybe they never explained it, maybe they never admitted it openly, but their heart knew why that question affected them so deeply. Don't skip. Because the biggest revelations often come from the emotions people cannot hide. A person can control their words, but sometimes their reaction tells the truth before they even realize it. Your soulmate's emotional response showed that the idea of a future was connected to something much deeper than just a dream. It was connected to belonging. They imagined a future where their child would grow up surrounded by love instead of confusion. They imagined creating the kind of family where every person feels valued. They imagined a home where problems are solved with understanding, where support exists during difficult times, and where two people choose each other even when life becomes challenging. And while everyone was focused on the question, your soulmate was focused on the feeling behind it. They were thinking about the person they wanted to share those moments with. The person who would understand their struggles. The person who would celebrate their happiness. The person who would stand beside them when nobody else understood. Sometimes people think silence means someone does not care, but silence can also mean someone is protecting something precious. Your soulmate's quiet moments were not empty. They were filled with memories, hopes, and emotions they never found the perfect words to express. There may have been times when circumstances created distance. There may have been outside opinions, misunderstandings, or moments when things felt uncertain. But even through those moments, some connections remain powerful because they are built on something deeper than temporary situations. The question about the future child reminded your soulmate of what truly mattered. It reminded them that behind all the struggles, there was still a dream of love that felt genuine. It reminded them that the future is not only about what someone achieves, but about who they share those achievements with. And that is why their emotional response shocked everyone. They saw a reaction they were not prepared for. They saw someone who suddenly became vulnerable. They saw someone remembering a future that had a special meaning. Because sometimes one question can reveal a lifetime of hidden feelings. Sometimes a single moment can show what someone has been carrying inside for years. And sometimes the person who says the least is the person whose heart has been speaking the loudest all along. The moment after that question stayed in your soulmate's mind because it touched a place they usually kept hidden from everyone. They continued thinking about the future, not because they were only imagining a child, but because they were imagining the emotions, memories, and love that would surround that child. They started thinking about the kind of person they wanted to become, the kind of partner they wanted beside them, and the kind of bond they wanted their family to be built on. Deep inside, your soulmate always wanted something real. They did not want a perfect life without problems, because they knew every relationship faces difficult seasons. What they wanted was someone who would stay when things became complicated, someone who would understand their silence, someone who would notice their pain even when they were smiling. And when they thought about those qualities, one person kept coming back into their mind. You. There were moments when your soulmate questioned the timing of everything. They wondered why some things had to be so difficult. They wondered why two people who cared about each other could still face confusion, distance, or situations that tested their patience. But every time they thought about giving up on the dream of a meaningful connection, memories came back and reminded them that some bonds are not easily forgotten. They remembered the small things that others ignored. They remembered the way you listened when they needed someone. They remembered the support you gave without asking for anything in return. They remembered how your presence changed their mood and brought peace during moments when everything felt heavy. The question about their future child brought those memories back because it represented something bigger. It represented the future they secretly hoped for. A future where love was not temporary. A future where two people could look back at every struggle and say that they survived it together. But there was another emotion hidden behind their reaction. It was the fear of losing something valuable before it even became real. Your soulmate had dreams, but they also had doubts. They wondered if their heart would be understood. They wondered if the person they cared about would see the depth of their feelings or only the outside version they showed to the world. Many people only see what someone chooses to reveal. They see the smile, the confidence, and the normal conversations. They do not see the private battles, the late-night thoughts, and the silent wishes someone carries inside. Your soulmate had been carrying a dream that they rarely spoke about because it was too personal and too important. Don't skip. Because this is where the hidden meaning behind their emotional response becomes clear. The question was not only about a future child. It was about a future where they finally felt complete. It was about finding someone who made the idea of family feel safe and beautiful. They imagined moments that looked simple but meant everything. They imagined celebrating small victories together. They imagined creating memories that their future child would remember. They imagined teaching someone about kindness, loyalty, and love because they had finally experienced those things themselves. And in those thoughts, your soulmate realized something important. The person they wanted beside them was not someone who would only be there during easy times. They wanted someone who understood the difficult chapters too. Someone who knew their fears, their dreams, and the parts of their heart they rarely showed. That is why the reaction surprised everyone. They were not just answering a question. They were revealing a part of themselves that they usually protected. Their emotions became stronger because the future they imagined was connected to feelings they had tried to keep under control. There may have been people around your soulmate who thought they understood their choices. They may have judged situations from the outside. They may have believed they knew what your soulmate wanted. But nobody knew the complete story living inside their heart. Nobody knew the dreams they carried quietly. Nobody knew the memories that still mattered. Nobody knew how one person could become connected to the future they imagined. Your soulmate learned that love is not only about the moments when everything feels perfect. Love is also about the moments when life creates challenges and two people still choose to understand each other. It is about patience, trust, and believing that something meaningful is worth protecting. And after that emotional moment, one thought became stronger than before. The future they dreamed about was never only about a place, a home, or a child. It was about the feeling of having the right person beside them when that dream finally arrived. It was about sharing happiness with someone who had already become a special part of their heart. As the days passed after that emotional moment, your soulmate kept thinking about why that one question affected them so deeply. They realized that sometimes the future we imagine is not created from random dreams, but from the people who leave a mark on our heart. The thought of a future child made them look beyond the present problems and remember the bigger picture they always wanted. They started thinking about the kind of love they wanted to show, the kind of memories they wanted to create, and the kind of person they wanted to become for the family they hoped to have one day. But what surprised them the most was realizing that when they imagined that future, they were not thinking about a perfect life. They were thinking about a real life. A life where two people support each other when things get difficult. A life where mistakes are forgiven, where emotions are respected, and where love is proven through actions instead of only words. They understood that a strong family is not built because everything is easy. It is built because two hearts continue choosing each other through every challenge. Your soulmate remembered the moments when they felt alone and the moments when they questioned whether they would ever find a connection that felt genuine. They remembered how many times they had to hide their emotions because they did not want anyone to see how deeply they cared. They learned how to look strong even when they were carrying things inside that nobody knew about. But with you, something felt different. There was a comfort they could not easily explain. There was a feeling that made them believe they did not always have to fight their battles alone. Even during times of silence or uncertainty, the connection remained somewhere in their heart. That is why the question about a future child became so emotional. It touched the part of them that still believed in love, commitment, and a future worth waiting for. Don't skip. Because the biggest truth is that sometimes people discover their own feelings when someone asks them a question they were not prepared for. Your soulmate may not have planned to show that emotion, but their heart reacted before their mind could hide it. The reaction revealed how deeply they had already connected certain dreams with certain memories. They started remembering the little things that made the bond special. The conversations that lasted longer than expected. The moments when a simple message changed their entire day. The times when they felt understood without needing to explain everything. These memories became proof that what they felt was not just a temporary emotion. At the same time, your soulmate also thought about the struggles that came with love. They knew that every beautiful story has moments of doubt. They knew that outside pressure, misunderstandings, and unexpected situations can test even the strongest connections. But they also knew something else. Real feelings do not disappear just because life becomes complicated. The idea of a future child made them think about the future version of themselves. They wanted to become someone who could give love, protection, and stability. They wanted to create a home where nobody felt ignored. They wanted a family where every person knew they were important. And somewhere in those thoughts, they understood why your presence mattered so much. Because the future they imagined was not about having everything. It was about having someone who made everything feel meaningful. There were things your soulmate wanted to say but never found the right moment. They wanted to explain why certain memories stayed with them. They wanted to explain why certain moments with you felt different. They wanted to explain that sometimes a person can become part of someone's future dreams without even realizing it. Maybe they stayed quiet because they were afraid. Maybe they worried about changing the connection they already had. Maybe they believed that some feelings were safer hidden than spoken. But that emotional moment showed that some truths cannot stay hidden forever. The people who witnessed their reaction saw only a few seconds, but they did not see the years of thoughts behind it. They did not see the hopes, fears, and memories that came rushing back. They did not see the silent conversations your soulmate had with their own heart. Your soulmate realized that the future is not something that simply happens. It is something people build together. Every choice, every act of kindness, and every moment of understanding becomes a part of that future. And when they thought about building something meaningful, they knew the person beside them would matter more than anything else. That question about a future child became a reminder of what their heart truly valued. It reminded them that love is not only about excitement and happiness. Love is about feeling safe enough to dream. It is about finding someone who makes you believe that tomorrow can be better than today. And even after the conversation ended, the feeling remained. The question was gone, but the emotions it created stayed in their heart. Because sometimes one unexpected moment reveals a truth that someone has been carrying silently for a very long time. The moment passed for everyone else, but for your soulmate, that question continued to live in their thoughts. They kept remembering the way they felt when they heard those words about a future child, because it was not just a question about tomorrow, it was a reminder of the dreams they had quietly carried inside their heart. They realized that some dreams are connected to certain people, and no matter how much someone tries to hide those feelings, a single unexpected moment can bring everything back. Your soulmate started thinking about the journey they had been through. They remembered the times when they felt unsure about love, the times when they wondered if they would ever find someone who truly understood them, and the moments when they felt like they had to carry everything alone. They learned how to smile even when they were hurting, how to stay quiet when they had so much to say, and how to protect their emotions because they did not want to be disappointed again. But when the question about a future child was asked, something inside them changed. They did not think about a perfect life. They thought about a meaningful life. They thought about a future where love was not only present during happy moments but also during the difficult ones. They thought about a future where two people could face challenges together and still choose each other every single day. Don't skip. Because the real reason behind their emotional reaction was hidden in the person they imagined standing beside them. A future child was only the question, but the emotion came from everything connected to that dream. It came from the memories, the hopes, and the feelings they had never fully expressed. Your soulmate remembered the moments when your presence made them feel different. They remembered the comfort they felt during conversations with you. They remembered how some small moments became unforgettable because of the connection between you both. They remembered how they could feel understood without having to explain every single emotion. There were times when your soulmate wanted to tell you what was in their heart, but fear stopped them. They wondered if the timing was right. They wondered if their feelings would be accepted. They wondered if opening their heart completely would make them vulnerable. So instead, they kept many things hidden and allowed their actions and silence to speak for them. But that emotional moment revealed something they could no longer ignore. Their heart had already created a picture of the future, and that picture was connected to someone who made them believe in love again. They imagined a home filled with peace. They imagined a family where every person felt important. They imagined a child growing up surrounded by kindness, respect, and genuine love. They imagined being able to look back one day and say that every difficult moment was worth it because it led them to a beautiful chapter of life. The people who saw their reaction only saw a few seconds, but they did not see the story behind those emotions. They did not know about the thoughts that stayed awake in their mind. They did not know about the dreams they kept private. They did not know that one simple question could reveal so many hidden feelings at once. Your soulmate also thought about the challenges that could come with any future. They knew that love is tested through situations, misunderstandings, and moments when patience becomes important. But they also knew that a strong connection is not measured by how easy the journey is. It is measured by how two people continue to care even when the journey becomes difficult. And that was the reason the question affected them so deeply. It reminded them that they were not searching for a fantasy. They were searching for something real. Someone who would understand their past, respect their present, and build a future with them. They realized that the most beautiful part of having a future child would not only be becoming a parent. It would be creating a loving environment with someone who truly matters. It would be sharing those unforgettable moments with the person who made their heart feel at home. Your soulmate may not have said your name in that moment, but their emotions carried a message that words could not express. Sometimes the heart reveals what the lips are afraid to say. Sometimes a reaction tells a deeper story than 1,000 explanations. And after everything, one truth remained in their mind. The future they dreamed about was never only about what they would have someday. It was always about who they would share it with, who would stand beside them, and who would make that dream feel complete. Because some people become connected to our future without even realizing it. Some memories become stronger with time. And some feelings remain hidden until one unexpected question brings them back to the surface.